we're going to talk about some ways that we can enhance our brains, and you're going to see in practice how we do this and how this amazing magic water has helped so many people with their brain. We're going to tell you about several of the people that have come through the program. This is a little girl named Chloe, and she had about half of her brain removed on the left-hand side because she had constant seizures that would not stop. And so the only way that medical science knew to stop that was through taking that part of the brain out. That left her kind of hemiplegic, and they called her cerebral palsy. And she was just a precious little girl and had a lot of issues because of that now that the brain wasn't there all the way. This is Jeannie. Jeannie came to us when her parents called me with a plea for help and said, my daughter has severe depression, anxiety. She won't come out of her room. She has anorexia. She's very suicidal and totally shut down. Literally, she would stay in her room with the blinds drawn day after day. She was in her 30s, and the parents were terrified that they were going to lose her. This was going on since she was a teenager. So was one of our little autistic children, and this is a common physician behavior, screaming, yelling all the time in their severe cases. She was nonverbal. She never acted like a normal child, and she had delayed development in all areas. Then we had Jason. He was a lovely young man, already in his late 20s, early 30s. He also had seizures very often, developmental and social delays. He was very slow in his speech. Couldn't get the words out. People thought he was more retarded. That really bothered him because he could get it inside, but he couldn't get it out. Temper tantrums and anxiety, and his life was just not coming together. Yvette was a beautiful young lady. Now we got her at about 15, 14. She had a skateboard accident. They were building a house. This brother built a little ramp on the porch. She fell off of it, cracked her head open, and died. They believed in the resurrection power of the Lord, and they prayed, and she came back to life. She was pretty much a vegetable, but they continued not giving up that faith and that hope and brought her through many, many phases of her development with alternative therapies. And I got her when she was pretty much able to walk and talk and learn, and she just needed some finishing touches. She had delays, she had self-image problems, she had a severely damaged optic nerve, and she had balance and motor problems. Then we deal with Matt and Bethany, who were adults, or Matt, I think, was already in his teenage years. Bethany was an adult. And we see many help for them. They don't get all the way well, but we can see a lot of changes can be produced for them. Our job is not to just give them 12 days and 30 days at home of intense therapy. We want them to have permanent changes. We want to change their life, because when we change their life, we're going to change the life of their family as well. So here's the way we do it. We have all these therapies that we integrate. They're all alternative. They're all dealing with the energy frequencies. We use light, sound, and motion. This bed moves. It's wonderful. And you have this light above you that has about 3,000 frequencies, and they're programmed for whatever issues are going on in the brain. You have music coming up under the bed, through speakers, which feel like you're getting a massage when it hits the bass notes. We have an auditory program that integrates and helps stimulate their visual pathways, their auditory pathways, because they all have sensory problems. And then we have a magnet, and we do magnetic fields. So that room is a very energetic room and a very powerful room. And they do that whole process in the dark. We do foot detox, and every time we can, we bring the parents in and have them come and share in whatever therapies we can with the people. We do reflex therapy. We do a lot of different reflexes. We do them with different things. We do them with lasers. We do them by hand. These are more of the reflexes that we do. We teach the parents how to do them. We do have hyperbaric that we offer, and we offer them good food. Remember, you can't just have good water, which is very important for the brain. You have to have good food. We give them a dairy-free and a wheat-free. We give them lots of raw food in the forms of very luscious salads. We do a lot of movement therapy. In fact, the brain moves so fast, and the brain wants to help you so fast that sometimes just doing some of these balance work, you get a connection almost instantly. We do the trampoline, and this young man was very autistic, and you can see us encoding. First of all, we help them to get the pathway, and then after a while, they just get it, and you can see him there. There he goes. At first, they couldn't, they were all over the place, but it begins to hit the brain and begin to go. Now, we come to one of the most important things in the entire program, and that is the water. The water that we use is alkaline, ionized, microclustered water. When we added this about 5 years ago, things really began to change, and we have to have all the pHs. We actually use 8.5, 9.0, 9.5, and 11.5, and 2.5. We use everything in the program. And it is amazing what has happened. And we give them 16, 18-ounce glasses, and after a therapy, maybe a light therapy or a trampoline, go in and drink your water. And they drink that whole thing. Why is alkaline ionized water so important and the most important thing? Because your brain is 80% water. Can you imagine getting through your day with only 20% of your ability to walk, 20% of your ability to think, 20% of anything, 20% of your clothes on? That might put it there. What in the world would you use if you could only have 20%? Well, it's very, very important. So this alkaline water facilitates the hydration. You're going to get pretty hydrated when you have to do these exercises. You need energy. Almost 100% of the people come to us with little to no energy. They have poor digestion. They need detoxification. They need inflammation. They have free radicals everywhere, and they need oxygenation. So this hydration, this is a picture of a hydrated and a dehydrated brain. Movement therapy, you know, when you're jumping all the time and you're moving and crawling and creeping, that's a lot of work. And I'll tell you, we needed some way to quickly energize these people who, for the most part, didn't have energy to begin with. It enhanced their performance, and it allows them to drink the water, and you don't slush it around. That was the most incredible thing. You know that it's microclustered immediately when you have got that water and you can go jump and it doesn't slush in your stomach. And you know that this is the only water that gets directly inside the cell, not just around the cell. This is my daughter, who was one of my reasons why I learned this and had motivation. She was born with asphyxiation at birth. She didn't have enough oxygen. I had a home birth. And I was very concerned about her. I was already working on things for the brain for my clients and understanding that a lot of things like Epstein-Barr and Lyme and all these things were coming from a brain injury. And I realized that she did have significant loss of oxygen. She was blue, and that she needed some help very early on. So we developed the program around her. And by the time we started this phase of the program with the light, sound, and motion, she was pretty well developed and through a lot of her brain injury. And you may meet her. She's here today with me. And when you see a young lady with me, that is her. She's 24 today. We have got to get water in our children. Don't give them juice. Don't give them sodas. Give them water. Digestion is so important. It's so big in the autistics and in the developmentally delayed, because they get a lot of brain issues when your digestion and your elimination isn't working right. We do too, but theirs is heightened. And so they need, the stomach normally needs 3 to 4 hours to get like tap water or bottled water to make it available. And the alkaline water pushes the nutrients into the system so they're more readily available. So we take a glutathione after every therapy, because every time you do a brain-enhancing therapy, and including like exercise, which enhances our brains, you are going to use up glutathione. If you do not have enough reserve glutathione to make the new brain cells, you don't make those new connections. So we found that out in the program, and so we'll give them that with a big glass of water. And the reason it's absorbed immediately is because the water carries it in. Water is the major factor in enzyme processes. Enzymes are thousands and thousands of functions and activities in the body all day long, and we need those enzymes to work, particularly in the brain and in the digestion. So water is most important during the final stage of elimination as well. If we get constipation, we get crabby people. We don't want that. And here is just a picture of the the smaller clusters. They can easily get into the cells. And folks, that is something that is so important. And we kind of take it for granted after we drink the water for a while. But how many of you ever feel like, ugh, I just drank too much? You can even drink 16, 18 ounces. You don't feel like that, do you? Because it's immediately going in. And results, most of you will identify with this. The stools are cleaner when the water is taken on a regular basis, and it detoxifies the lactic acid. And so they're doing a lot of muscle work that they haven't been doing, and they're never going to have sore muscles. The ionized water is about half the size, so it penetrates the cellular membranes, and it speeds up the waste removal from the tissues. So it's very, very important. Alkaline ionized microclustered water aids in detoxification. We're moving a lot of drugs out of the system, and there's increased secretion. And we do a toxic metal detox, and we were talking yesterday about the detox from that. We've discovered a technique to use light with frequency to move the metals out. We've seen miraculous results moving lead poisoning. We had a neurologist come in who had severe lead poisoning, was in bed for about 6-8 years. The day after we did the detox, took one time, to get the lead out, she was like full of